Big news from the courts. A U.S. appeals court voted 7-4 to block President Trump's most expansive tariffs. These broad reciprocal tariffs have reshaped global trade. The judges declared the law used doesn't give the president that authority. This affects nearly 70% of all U.S. imports. Trump called the appeals court highly partisan, confident the Supreme Court will rule in his favor. This sets up a major constitutional confrontation over government power. The legal battle is moving rapidly. The Supreme Court agreed to take the case, granting an expedited hearing, oral arguments scheduled for the first week of November. A tariff is a tax on goods coming into the country from abroad. That cost often gets passed to American consumers. Some industries support tariffs to help compete with foreign goods. Others argue tariffs are taxes on American families and businesses. The appeals court said tax power belongs exclusively to Congress by the Constitution. Separation of powers prevents any branch from becoming too powerful. This legal fight tests those constitutional limits. At the center is a huge amount of money. Treasury warned of massive potential refunds, $750 billion to $1 trillion, from tariffs already collected from importers. This risk pushed the administration to fast-track Supreme Court hearing. A key concept is the major questions doctrine. The court uses it to limit federal agency and White House power. For major issues, agencies need clear authorization from Congress. They cannot rely on vague or old statutes. The court found Trump's tariffs fall into that category. Many Republicans publicly support tough trade but quietly hope the court blocks tariffs. Senator Rand Paul argues tariffs are taxes on consumers. 7 Senate Republicans co-sponsored the Trade Review Act, led by Chuck Grassley and Maria Cantwell. New tariffs would expire after 60 days unless Congress votes approval. Democrats celebrate as a win for constitutional rule of law. Attorney Neil Catal says founders meant major tax decisions for Congress, not presidential pen strokes. Representative Gregory Meeks praised the court's constitutional defense. The tariff battle sends shockwaves through the economy. The Economic Policy Uncertainty Index hit record highs in 2025, reflecting anxiety felt by investors, businesses, and consumers. Unpredictable government policies create volatility. The U.S. economy shrank 0.3% in first quarter 2025. Trade war disrupted supply chains and distorted inventories. Legal challenges came from affected businesses and states, like VOS Selections, a wine importer, and Plastic Services, dealing in pipes and fittings. Their lawyer, Jeffrey Schwab, hailed the decision as protecting American businesses and consumers. 12 states joined the legal fight, arguing the president overstepped authority and harmed local economies. Yale's Budget Lab estimates tariffs could reduce GDP growth by nearly a full percentage point. This affects corporate profits, job creation, touching every corner of the economy. Combined voices of small businesses and state governments added weight to arguments about severe domestic consequences. The ruling creates uncertainty for international trading partners. Countries that negotiated deals to lower tariffs watch with concern. Agreements with Japan and the European Union could be undone by court decision. Foreign governments want predictable, stable trade based on law, not executive whim. Australian Trade Minister Don Farrell called the tariffs unjustified. Many nations feel unfairly targeted by wide-ranging taxes. The administration may have other tools if broad tariffs are blocked. Kevin Hassett says the White House has other legal authorities. Sector-specific tariffs on steel and copper were imposed under different law, like Section 232 citing national security. But the Trade Act of 1974 has constraints. Caps tariffs at 15% for just 150 days, unless Congress extends them. Far from the high, indefinite tariffs the president favored, using restrictive laws would roll back claimed executive authority. The nation waits for the highest court's final word. Key date, October 14, with oral arguments first week of November. Accelerated timeline means faster decision than usual, possibly before year-end or early 2026. The outcome has enormous consequences. If the court rules against the administration, broad tariffs will be invalidated, leading to significant price drops. Electronics, clothing, food. Companies could get massive refunds, injecting billions back into the economy. A major check on presidential power, forcing future administrations to work with Congress on trade policy. If the court sides with Trump, it affirms expansive executive power in trade. Broad tariffs remain, keeping prices elevated and economic uncertainty continuing. For now, everyone waits. The decision will be landmark on separation of powers, the economy's future, and America's global relationships. The stakes could not be higher as the nation holds its breath for resolution.